If you cannot stay focused, turn off your phone, eliminate all distractions from your life while you need to do some work, whether it's your coursework or your business, it means that you have never been in a deep work state or a flow state at all in your life. And I understand that. I've been there, I've done that, I've been in that situation where I can't get into that flow state, that deep state, because there's too many distractions around me. The world is full of distractions from phones, music, people talking, cars, Netflix. We have a very loud world in terms of noise pollution. These things are what are keeping you from your best self, keeping you distracted, and having them breakthroughs in your work, leading to an elite level of thinking and ability. When we talk about deep work and being focused, the one thing that reduces our cognitive ability and the lack of concentration is the sound from music, our phones, our environment we're in, where the people are talking from school, offices. It becomes debilitating on how much work and thinking we can do. And if you really want to see the benefits of this and get into that deep work flow state, then you need to be able to create an environment that allows you to not be distracted, eliminating all distractions from your life, whether that's noise, people talking, music. How I do this is I tend to listen to nature sounds. Just go onto the web browser, type in nature sounds and put that in my ears, or classical music with no words. This allows me to block out my environment when there's people talking around me. I don't have to listen to them because I can't hear anything because of the music that's in my ears. I've got noise cancellation headphones as well, so I can't hear the outside world, and this allows me to concentrate and not get distracted by outside environment. The thing that people overlook the most is our hearing. Our hearing is always on. It's for our survival. And so by listening to this music, I'm cutting out that hearing. I'm not going to die in my house, am I? I've got very little chance of dying in my house, someone coming in and killing me or anything like that. So my ears are not really needed in my house. And if someone wants me, they'll give me a ring. So I eliminate my outside world by using my headphones to my advantage. And I'm not like I said, music can be distracting, but that's music with words, and I'm just listening to nature sounds. This brings my heart rate down. It gives me a sense of I'm calm, I'm safe, and that makes me get into that deep workflow state. It puts me into that state of concentration. It makes me think cognitively better because I am in that calm state of mind, and my mind is occupied, so I'm not worrying about emotions or my surroundings, and I'm very hyper aware. So by taking this hearing away from me, it allows me to be able to concentrate and get into that workflow state and be able to do that 60, 90 minutes at a time in deep diving into work. By pairing together, setting a routine, eliminating multitasking and eliminating distractions will allow you to get into this deep work state, which will be needed if you are well and truly wanting to be anything else but normal and beat your competition in whatever it may be, because you will be able to produce at an elite level and master hard things quickly. The idea behind deep work is to get them critical jobs we have to do, spend 90 minutes to 4 hours concentrating fully, giving our full, deepest attention on them jobs that we have to do, and then spending the rest of the day doing little tasks that don't really take much concentration at all. We could multitask then. By getting them done, by fully concentrating on them, it allows us to have big breakthroughs in our work and generate we get most of the work done in them 90 minutes to 4 hours of working, so the rest of the day can just be spent doing tasks that just generally don't allow you to really think that much, and that allows us to then go again for the next day, for the next 90 minutes, that next deep block, that next block of deep work the next day. To be able to achieve hard things and produce at an elite level, we have to be able to understand how willpower works. We all have willpower. It stops us from eating unhealthy foods, stops us texting our ex, but we only have so much of willpower. It's like a muscle, it's trained and it gets depleted. The more we use it, the more depleted it gets and the harder it gets to not being able to pick up them snacks. But it can be trained. Why am I telling you this? Is because where you will want to give in and start scrolling on social media, get distracted and not really concentrate on your work. Maybe you want to crank out a wank. But by creating a routine, preferably in the morning, where we haven't looked at our phone, we haven't had anything else to distract us that's put our attention to, it allows us to use less willpower by creating a routine, by just doing it first thing in the morning. We know when our deep work is. When you check your phone or do a low intensity task, this is where attention residue comes into play, making it hard to concentrate on your work. So if we want to be able to get into this workflow state and we need to create a routine behind it. So what I want you to do is create a routine, and I'll put mine up now, is create a routine where you know you're going to be doing that deep work, whether it's in the morning, in the afternoon, but preferably I like to do it in the morning, just so I haven't looked at my phone, I haven't looked at emails, messages, my attention hasn't been anywhere else during that day because I've just woke up. I freshly just woke up. So it allows me to put my full concentration straight into the work. And I know a lot of you won't be able to do that, but by creating this routine, you know when your deep work is, and that you know when your focus is, and when you can put your attention somewhere else, because you've created this routine. You've got that 90 minutes of deep focus, no distractions, no talking to anyone, just pure hard work, thinking, draining your mental energy to put it into your work. And because you know when it is, you know when you can have them free times. Like I said, we're only going to be doing 90 minutes to 4 hours of work. So them 90 minutes to 4 hours of work, we know we can put that work in then, and then the rest of the day we can spend getting distracted or doing the things that we like doing, or doing the little tasks that really don't take that much concentration. Like I said, as setting this routine, setting the time for specifically when you are going to be doing this deep work will allow you to use less willpower, will allow you to say, like during them 90 minutes, that 4 hours of working deeply and hard, you won't use less willpower, because you know after that 90 minutes, after that 4 hours is up, you know you can be on your phone as much as you want, or do whatever you want in that day to be able to regain that willpower. And frankly, you don't really use that much willpower anyway. It's not that hard to do once you set a routine. My typical routine is where I wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, I grab a black coffee, and then I get straight to work. I do 90 minutes of deep work. I give myself about 10 minutes to just digest everything, take everything in, think about what I've just done, fill up my bottle, maybe get another coffee if I need it, and then I go straight back into my second block of deep work. And then this usually takes me till about 11 o'clock, half 11, and then the rest of my day is filled with my usual work, the gym, walking, that sort of stuff. So this is my day, and then the rest of the day I can just do as I please, when I please, what I want to do. If I want to answer messages, this is when I first go on my phone. I don't check my phone this whole time. So I know I've got that. I know I've got them 3 hours in the morning of just concentrating, hard focused on my work, on these videos that I put. I use these 3 hours to edit, write notes, to just think deeply about these videos and put all my effort into these videos. And then this allows me to recharge for the rest of the day to go back into it the next day. And like in the past where I have like accidentally checked my phone. There probably will be times where you accidentally check your phone, just out of habit, where you just bring out your phone in your pocket or it's on the side and you just pick it up. This is, you accidentally do that and you see an email that says how to grow your penis in 5 minutes. Well, this leads me to the next section, and a very big part of deep work, to have little to no distractions at all. So I want you to now go into your phone settings, whether it's a Samsung or an iPhone. I've got an iPhone. Go into the settings, go into the notifications tab, and then go on where it says show preview, click on that and say never. Click on never. This will stop you from reading the text. It'll just say text from dad, email, YouTube. It won't say what they've said or what the comment is. When you see what the message says or whatever that notification is on your email, and if you slightly get just a preview of it, your attention is stuck on that slightly. This is where the attention residue comes into play. Your attention will be stuck on that and you will be distracted slightly. It will make you work less. You'll be distracted a lot more because your mind will be on that notification. You'll be thinking about something. Your girlfriend's just broke up with you and you're going to be crying and emotional and all this sort of stuff. Your head's going to be there. You're not going to be able to concentrate on your work. By eliminating that, eliminates that factor of when you pick up your phone accidentally, you see the notification, because there has been plenty of times, and once I placed this on, I picked up my phone and then I could just see YouTube or whatever it is, and I just put it straight back down because I'm like, oh no, don't check my phone. Just out of habit, I picked it up. So, and the next thing I did is I turn on Do Not Disturb, both on my computer and my phone. This is so the phone, we're still getting the notifications, but it's not lighting up our phone. So our phone is basically technically off without it actually being off. And I turn my phone over just in case, because I do have texts and phones. If someone needs to text me or phone me, it does light up my screen and actually make my screen go off, and that's just because I know that's important. That's why they're texting me, that's why they're calling me. So I'll turn my phone over so my screen isn't lit up at all. And just by the screen lighting up, that is a distraction. And when you are working, you need to have your phone turned over. You need to go to the extremes of this to eliminate all distractions, all things that are going to take you out of that flow state. It's sometimes hard to get into that flow state, and once you're in it, you don't want to be pulled out of it, because you can just work for hours and hours getting work done. You're in this, you have major breakthroughs in your work because you're in this flow state and you're going from one thing to the next and your mind's going all over the place, because it's just a beautiful state of mind, state of being, and you don't want to be pulled out of that, and I don't want to be pulled out of that. So I make sure I go to these extremes to make sure I do not come out of that state until I am meant to get out of this state. And don't worry about answering the notifications. You can answer that later after the work's done. The society now praises you on it replying instantly. There's no patience in this world. Everyone wants instant results, instant replies. We are impatient as a whole, and if we do not reply instantly and someone gets mad, then I would say get rid of that friend, because they are no good for you. You need patience in this world. Now, to make sure that you stick to your deep work and make sure it feels more fulfilling and generates momentum and motivation, we have to implement praising ourselves and create some sort of scoreboard to ensure accountability. The book talks about implementing a scoreboard, keeping a tally board or something like that. My way of doing it is I've gone into my notes and I've created a note where I can just tick off every time I do some deep work and how I praise myself. And why I praise myself and why I pair it with this scoreboard is because it makes me feel good. It sounds cringy, but like praising yourself for doing that deep work builds that momentum, it builds that motivation, and at the same time I'm ticking it off saying, oh, I've done this deep work, and then I'm praising myself for it, saying yes, good job, well done, you've done this. Then it allows me to go into that second block of deep work and feel more better about it, because that second block can be a struggle sometimes. The first one I don't find that hard going into, just because I'm fresh. But after that first 90-minute block, I can be a bit fried sometimes, and then that bit of praise that I give myself, saying like, well done Harvey, mate, you've done a very good job today. Well, this allows me to feel a bit more motivated, a bit more momentum to get back into that deep flow state. It makes the work feel more worthwhile, and no one else is going to praise you unless you've got accountability. And this is how PTs make money. They get that accountability, but we're creating accountability for ourselves. But if you think you won't stick to that, you won't be able to stick to that accountability, then you can join my Discord and I can keep you accountable. You can tell me every single day, oh, have you completed my work today? I can just be, oh, well done, mate. Right, finally we're getting on to the attention residue. Like I mentioned previously, attention residue is where it's basically multitasking. So when we multitask, bits of our attention is stuck on the things that we are putting our attention on, right? So say we're on task A. Task A, if it's of low intensity, this makes the attention residue more significant. So task A will be something like gaming, or like just a general conversation with someone. It doesn't take much thinking to do. If something doesn't take much thinking to do, task A doesn't take much thinking to do, and then task B is saying, I'm going to write my notes for this video. So my switching over and switching between them, it's harder to focus on task B, writing my notes, because that task A was so easy to do, so I didn't have to think at all, and I did that first. My attention stuck there, and I can't fully endeavour into this task B. So we need to eliminate multitasking to reduce the effects of attention residue. Because when we're doing task B, task A is cropping up in our mind, saying, oh, that conversation comes back up, that gaming, like, oh, that felt good when I shot him, or whatever it is. Like, that takes our attention away from task B. Even if we finish task A, we finish the conversation, we finish that game, it takes a while for our brains to swap over and fully concentrate on task B. As men, we need to work to achieve status, women, to provide for a family. You need to be able to get into the habit of getting into a deep workflow state to create at an elite level and master hard things. The ability to master hard things by going into a deep workflow state, it allows us to fire the appropriate neurons in our brain, and when we do activate them appropriate neurons, it activates the process of myelination. Myelin is fatty tissue surrounding these neurons when they're fired, right? It makes them neurons fire faster and more efficiently, more effortlessly, less effort for our brains. It just becomes a habit. So when we go into this deep workflow state, whatever we are learning, whatever we are concentrating fully on, the activation of this myelination process, the myelin, the forming of this fatty tissue around the neurons, is cementing that skill, that act of what we're doing in this deep workflow. It's firing the same neurons over and over and over again without other neurons interrupting and doing that thing. So it allows us to produce allows us to master hard things very fast, because we get better and better. Our brain gets more effortlessly. It becomes effortlessly to do it because the same neurons are firing over and over again, making it easier. And this is why we need to eliminate multitasking and distractions out of our life, so our attention isn't everywhere. So we're firing these neurons over and over again to produce to master hard things quickly. It'll take you longer, and your competition, whatever it may be, will be better at whatever you are trying to do, because you cannot stay concentrated. if you cannot stay concentrated, this myelination process will be interrupted by the other things you are concentrating on, the task A and task B, task C. All of them, the same neurons won't be activated all the time, so it makes sticking to that habit, sticking to that thing a lot harder. Just like when I was producing 2 videos a week, my speaking got better, my taking notes got better, my editing, because I was activating the same neurons over and over again. I was getting used to talking, I was getting used to editing, I was getting used to taking notes, because the same neurons were firing over and over again, creating this myelination process, the act of the fatty tissue around the neurons cementing them acts that I was doing, helping me get better quicker, learning from my mistakes. Like I said, the ability to create at an elite level in terms of both quality and speed. Like I mentioned about the attention residue, your attention gets left behind, scattered here, there and everywhere. Deep work is important to outperform your competitors. You cannot go deep for an extended period of time. You will never be able to produce quality and speed. Your competitors will always beat you in whatever you may be trying to achieve, unless you are gifted in that area, which most of you won't be. So by going deep, it allows us to produce at an elite level in terms of quality and speed. Now this one, you might be thinking, what is he going on about? Embrace boredom. We can use boredom to think better. Our brains are always finding something to think about. By not always needing something to stimulate us or distract us in some way, like scrolling on social media, gaming, it allows us to generate thoughts and ideas, giving us energy and motivation. Some of our best ideas are best come about when we are still, when we are not doing much, when we are not actively thinking about that said thing. Like when people are writing books, they go away for a bit and they allow themselves to become still and not think about that. And how we can do this is by distracting ourselves with walking, driving, showering, running. All these things preoccupy our brain, as well as giving blood flow to our brain. It puts us in that calm state of mind with the blood flow as well, making our brains think and tick over. And these are when our best ideas come. I get my best ideas when I'm driving or when I'm running and walking. And when we talk about the routine, this process also gives us, like, we work for them 4 hours, and then the rest of the day we get to do stuff that we don't really have to think about. And this allows us to get them thoughts, get them inspiring thoughts, them inspiring feelings, and allows us to preoccupy our brains so we're not directly thinking all the time about our work, and we get them really good ideas, them really good thinking times, because our brain is preoccupied. And so we just need to implement walking and ways of being still and not always being stimulated by our phones or whatever it may be, and allow our brains to just tick over so we can just think. And these are where our best ideas can come from. Neurologically and physiologically, going and being able to get into a deep workflow state, it brings happiness, it brings fulfillment, it brings purpose. The deep work brings the flow state, and that flow state brings happiness. We are happy when our mind is deep into something, being able to think deeply about something. It allows us to stretch our limits of our brain and our body, making it worthwhile and bringing greater levels of reward and results. We assume that relaxation makes us happy, but actually working on something that we are fully invested on, fully getting better at, and can delve right into the depths of it and think hard and stretch the limits, like I said, of our brains and our body. It generates goals, feedback and challenges. Usually we want to think, oh, we want to relax more, we want TV, but when we're in that, like I said, we're only doing this for 90 minutes to 4 hours. So being in that deep state is just beautiful for our being, our state of mind. It allows us to think more logically and less emotionally, because our brains will always find something to think about, and if we do not have something to deeply think about, our brains will find something to deeply think about, whether that's emotions or your circumstances that you are currently in. Philosophically, deep work is craftsmanship at its finest. By going into a deep workflow state, no matter the job, whether it's a lawyer, computer programmer, or a YouTuber, it allows us to create at a level to be better than the rest, to know the ins and outs of the jobs, to cultivate your skills in your job, from going from a distracting obligation to something that's meaningful and rewarding. To be able to go deep, you will need to create an environment that supports the points that I have mentioned during this video. If you still live with your parents, or you're worried about your friends getting annoyed that you're not going to answer them quickly, you just need to tell them, have a word with them, send them a quick message and just say, look, I'm working, please don't distract me. Set a routine, a place and a time with no distractions, and you will see and get the results that you want. Start off by clearing your mind, be present, and get to work. Do what needs to be done, not what you feel like doing.